We need to talk about this. Talk about this.
All right, now, here's your host of the Georgio Says podcast. It's Georgio.
We need to talk about this.
All right, my friends, welcome to an all-new episode of Georgio Says the podcast. Today is Tuesday, August 19th. Shout out to everyone who's made it to Tuesday. We are almost through August. The summer is coming to a close. I already see all the parents really happy to be sending their kids off to school. It hasn't kicked back in around where I'm at. I'm in the DMV area, but I know so many other counties and other states have already prepared and kids have already started their way back to school. So you know what that means. All you parents are going to be getting a lot of time back in your day and probably a lot more sanity for some of you. Anyways, listen, today's episode is going to be really to the point, and that's funny coming from me because I feel like I can never just get to the point. But I do want to use this time, since there's not too much, there's not really a show to cover today. There's a couple things that have been stirring up in me, and a lot of you guys, you know, have really seen that perhaps maybe I'm becoming a bit more sassy in my videos. Okay. Now, I will say that I am naturally sassy. So it's not that something has happened that is causing me to all of a sudden become sassy. I think I've gone through a lot of different things in the last 4 or 5 years. And I think those things have shaped me into becoming more confident in speaking my mind. And not that I haven't spoken my mind or giving you guys opinions on what I think is happening or giving you guys the scoop to the truest extent that I can. I do often feel like I'm not giving you guys the full picture sometimes. And I always have a lot to say. And listen, my eyes and ears are pretty much everywhere. My interests are very broad. So it's not that I wouldn't have things to talk about on here, because I do. But mainly this whole channel, my platform was built around discussing and commenting on Housewives episodes, giving you guys the scoop on Bravo News, all of that stuff. But outside of that, there's, you know, I'm a human being, so I see what's going on out here. And there's just a lot of hypocrisy right now, a lot of hypocrisy. And no, this is not going to be the entire episode, I promise. But I do want to say that I find that, especially right now, we are in a stage where there is a lot of easy triggers. And sometimes, in my experience, I find that people are running with narratives and are losing sight of context. And, you know, things are not cut and dry is what I'm trying to say. So that doesn't fit for every scenario. So don't get too ahead of me on this. I'm not saying this applies to every single situation, okay? What I am saying, though, is that there are situations that if you were to just look at a snapshot or an edit of something, you could walk away with your own version of the story based on what you saw, right? And that's fair. If that's all you're ever going to see about this situation, then your opinion is based on what you saw. And so that to me is fair. However, when things start to become more of an open dialogue and more angles are being viewed and different sides of the story start coming forward, I've started to notice that people want to run with what they first saw, right? So for instance, if I saw a video of 2 people in a restaurant and they were fighting, and the one person seemed to be overpowering the other person, and the way it was shot was we didn't get what happened that led up to this fight. All we're seeing is that this one person seems to be beating on this other human being. So naturally, you go, wow, that person's an asshole. That person needs to be found. Then another day goes by, and then another patron in that same space takes the video from a different angle. It's now a lot earlier, so we're not just jumping right in on the fight. Now we see that the person in the original video that was beating on the other person was defending themselves, because it turns out from the other video that the other person earlier on swung at the person first. So I say that to say, when we're looking at anything, whether it's Housewives or pop culture news or whatever it may be, it's important to try to get as many pieces to that story as you can before forming an opinion I am of the mindset of I can be told by 5 people this is what the story is, but I still need to go and look for myself. I need to go research it. I need to, because obviously 9 times out of 10, if there really is an issue, the people around you are not going to tell you what the issue is because that's the point. They don't want you to know, or they don't want their side of the story coming out because then it makes them not look as much like a victim, whatever the case is. So I'm saying all that because this has just driven me nuts lately. I see it a lot, and it's across all different types of topics. Everyone seems to cherry pick what they want to virtue signal about, or they want to dig deep into things. I saw a video yesterday where a woman who, I don't even remember what it is that she makes, but it's something to do with canning vegetables or canning things in a way that, I don't know, something to do with that. Well, this video wasn't so much about the actual product she makes. It was more of a rant. And quite frankly, I understood where she was coming from, because what she said was, not everything is for you, right? If I post something about Bravo Housewives and it lands on someone's For You page who never watches Housewives, and they comment on my video and they're like, get a life, get a job, which, by the way, is like the top 2 comments that most people in my space get when they're talking about any of this. But nonetheless, that person getting upset enough to then comment on the video that they feel shouldn't be on their For You page or their feed because I don't watch these trashy shows, there's a lot of things that come up on my feed. So anyways, this woman was basically saying, like, stop virtue signaling in the comment section. Not everything's for you. I'm of the mindset of take what resonates and leave what doesn't. You will be much happier. You will get through your positioning in life a lot smoother when you stop digging into every situation and trying to do the what ifs. Well, what about this person? What about this person? You can't have access. Like yesterday, very good example. I posted my recap for Real Housewives of London. I am right now getting DMs from angry people. How dare you talk about a show that I can't access and watch? Well, yeah, well, then I guess I should get mad at anybody that's carrying a fucking Birkin bag and driving a G-Wagon and saying, fuck you for having that. I want it. But because I can't have it right now, you can go fuck yourself because you already seem to have it. That's not like, by the way, you can go watch it. You guys just don't want to, and that is fine too. Okay? But that was a clear example of take what resonates and leave what doesn't. If you're not going to go invest in a VPN because you want to watch this that badly, I get it. I'm not saying anything is terrible about that decision, but to berate me, who did not create Hey You, I did not make the rules about where this show is going to stream. Okay. Like, all I can hope for, like I said on yesterday's episode, is that Bravo will then re-air it down the road, depending on how it's received. I'm not sure. There is no guarantee, but there are a lot of franchises that are international that we are not going to be able to see unless you do have VPN. So that's what I want to get off my chest. Okay. Now let's dive into some Bravo stuff because, I woke up this morning and the first thing that pops up on my feed is a Tasha K interview. Now, if you're not familiar with Tasha K, she's infamous for being sued by Cardi B and winning for defamation, okay? Which is a very rare situation. So clearly Tasha was going at it for some time. Nonetheless, ever since that whole debacle, Tasha has then moved her business, if you will, over to Roku. So she has herself a streaming channel. Fantastic. I'm building mine out as we speak. So anybody that is a creator or anybody that has any type of art form, you should absolutely have your own streaming channel on the Roku platform. That's another conversation. Nonetheless, so she's moved her practice over to Roku. You have to pay to watch her stuff. So it's like a Patreon, but it's on television. Okay. her style of content is very tabloid-esque. And when I say tabloid, I mean bottom of the barrel. It is National Enquirer. It is, I'm going to get the interview with this fake alien just so I can get clicks and views. Everyone knows this is fake. Everyone knows this is bullshit, but we're still going to get viewership because nonetheless, people at the heart of it really want to believe the icky, really wild things about people that aren't necessarily true. Anyways, I wake up. She's got this guy on there that she's interviewing, and come to find out, it's Kelly Farrell's ex-husband. So wait a minute. Hold on a second. Now, why is he on Tasha K? Because I'm assuming, okay, that people do their due diligence, but I guess they're going straight off of numbers. And numbers don't always mean credible or that the person is trying to help you get your truth out. Sometimes, more times than not, Tasha is interviewing someone because at the end of the day, they are the butt of the joke. Okay? My opinion, so any Tasha K stands out there, don't come for me. But I'm just going to say this right now. If you have to go on Tasha K to get your truth out, well, sweetheart, I'm going to just go ahead and believe everything Kelly said about you. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to tell you guys, don't even waste your time going and watching it. Don't waste your time. It's a man sitting up there with a bunch of excuses, a bunch of this scenario was taken out of context. This was taken out of context. The money got frozen. This isn't fair. It's always the same playbook with these jokers of men, you know, where it's like, oh no, I didn't do anything wrong. The system's just fucking locking my money up. And she's creating a narrative on the show for ratings. No, she's on the show because she's got to pay bills. She's got to pay bills. And if you really wanted your story out there, you wouldn't go to a paid wall tabloid National Enquirer content creator to get your voice out there, because her audience frankly doesn't give a shit about the truth. They just want drama, and that's what she delivers. Now this is sounding like I'm shitting all over Tasha K. Listen, I don't have a lot of great things to say about her, and the reason why is because I caught on to her a while ago, but there was one particular situation where she brought on this woman who clearly was out of her mind wackadoodle, okay? And she had this woman come on and make up a whole fucking story about being Chris Bassett from Real Housewives of Potomac's mistress, okay? Went on a full-on interview. Didn't provide any real receipts, by the way. So that was red flag number one. And then kept on switching up the story. So I went in and I dug in. I went and spoke to her myself. I sat on the phone with this woman for 2 hours to just validate my original suspicion that this woman is wackadoodle. She then proceeds to send me several photos that I cannot show on the internet, but none of them could actually prove that it was Chris. It was just a white man and he was bald. There's a ton of white, bald men out here, so that doesn't prove anything. Then, after 3 days of back and forth with her, because then I started getting angry with her, and I said, you're playing games, and I'm gonna out you as the big liar you are. So if you're lying, you better just backtrack now, or if you're telling the truth, you better show hard evidence, because this is a serious accusation you're making. So she sends me a photo, okay? Still not of the face, but on the right arm, there was a tattoo. And she even had a story for the tattoo. She said, yes, Chris got this tattoo because of his daughter. So I said, wow. So I'm scrolling on the internet now. I'm looking for I'm looking for shirtless photos of Chris anywhere I can find it to see if there's a fucking tattoo. Because it would be on the show if he had gotten it when she said she did, was when his daughter was born, which was way before the show. Okay? So I'm looking. There's no shirtless pictures of Chris. Good for him for respecting his body, but bad for me for trying to figure out if this woman's lying. So I'm like, my last resort is going to the very first season of when they came on the show, him and Candace, and let's just see. I think there was a pool party. I'm not remembering it completely. I don't know. So I go on, I'm scanning through the episodes. I find the pool party scene. Then I see Chris jumping into the pool from the balcony. And then I say, holy shit, this is my moment. So I get from both angles. There's not a fucking tattoo on that man's arm. So then I take that, screenshot it, go to Chris Bassett, send him that, tell him the story she's giving, and say, I don't see this tattoo. Did you perhaps have it removed and put back on and then removed? He said, I've never had a tattoo in my life. So I went and I put the kibosh on that. Okay. That's why I don't care for Tasha K. I go to great lengths to make sure I get to the truth, not only for you guys, but it's for me too. I'm just sharing it because we're all friends here. But, you know, when you look at it from this angle, you're like, yeah, there's people out here like Tasha K. They're going to interview Kelly Farrell's ex-husband, who is probably more than likely doing and has done all the things that Kelly has said. Okay. So the fact that he's going on there instead of there's other reputable platforms to go on if you feel that strongly that she's lying. I'm not saying if she's lying that you should just shut up about it. No, but it's this avenue you took to say, oh, of all the platforms, let me go on Tasha K. Like, oh, and another thing about Tasha K. When I exposed that Juan Dixon had a mistress that completely blew up Robin's whole bit and storyline for season 8 and then had to deal with it into season 9. You're welcome, Potomac. Tasha K was in the mistress's DMs as soon as I posted that story and was trying to gank her to get the first interview. Now, thankfully, this mistress did not fall for it, but it's the point of how scrappy Tasha is. So she'll take whatever she can get and make it into something for views and clicks. So that's my opinion on that. Don't believe Kelly Farrell's ex-husband because, yeah, he's a bunch of bullshit. If you have to sit behind a paid wall to tell your truth, then something's really wrong with you, in my opinion. Okay, now.
This episode of the Georgio Says podcast is brought to you by Pop Pop and Ya-Ya's Smoky Pet Treats, where every bag has a story, and every bite is made with love. Each Pop Pop and Ya-Ya's Smoky Pet Treat is 100% natural, gently smoked to perfection, and made with just one ingredient, either chicken or beef. Your pets won't say no. No preservatives, no additives, just pure, savory flavor your dogs will love. Perfect for snacking, training, or even crumbling over their meals for an extra tail-wagging treat. Visit ppyytreats.com today to shop their smoky chicken breast strips and smoky beef strips and tell them Georgio sent you. Now let's get back to the episode.
Let's jump back into this Orange County situation, guys. I'm sorry. I hate to beat. This is actually not beating a dead horse, in my opinion. I'm bringing new things to the surface for everyone to think about. Hold on one second. I just want to bring things to your attention, maybe even remind you so that you can kind of stay focused on the bigger picture. Okay. When we're looking at this current situation play out with Katie and Gretchen and Tamra and all of that, I spoke about this yesterday on the podcast. There's, a lot of people now re-watching this season 4 episode of the Naked and Wasted Party. Okay. And yes, was it a good look? No, it wasn't. It was disgusting because it kind of has this like sinister feel to it. Even if nothing sinister was going to come of it, everyone's mind obviously goes to the darkest place because we've known so many women, and not to bring myself into it, I've been in situations where I've been assaulted because of something like that. And not because I was forced to drink, but because I partook in it and didn't need to in front of people I really didn't trust or shouldn't have trusted in that state of mind. However, what I'm saying is I'm not saying the behavior was okay. So take that off the top right now if you heard that. Sometimes as soon as you guys hear me starting to make a little bit of logic out of something, you skip over it and just jump to saying, I hate Tamra. I'm not defending Tamra's behavior, but it was also Vicky in that situation kind of partaking in that. But context matters. And I think the bigger situation, what they were trying to do, and it was very juvenile of them, was, look, Gretchen is one way off camera. And then on camera, she tries to present as this proper, very big on etiquette, very ladylike. And so I think they were trying to catch her off guard by trying to get her to drink because they know if she starts to drink, the real Gretchen will show up. Now, did it go too far? Absolutely. Thankfully, nothing happened. But this is what everyone keeps getting hung up on and keep trying to blame this now all on Tamra. Now they're saying Tamra made this up. When I said to you in my initial video around this, how it didn't make sense, it didn't make sense. Why is Katie making that up? And Tamra's been on this show for too long. So if she was going to just get lazy and then just make up something just because she needed to get something started, did you not think that that won't come back and bite her in the ass? Do you think that she's stupid? She hasn't been on the show as long as she has because she's playing dumb. Okay. She knows what she's doing. Does she exaggerate things? Yes. But at the end of it, is it truthful? Yes. Yes, it is. Do people like the delivery? No. Do you have to? No. But the truth is the truth. Wherever it sits for people. But nonetheless, Naked and Wasted season 4 was not the only time that a naked and wasted scenario played out. It just looked a little different. Okay. Let's fast forward from season 4 to season 11. The girls go to Ireland. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole trip. There's one particular moment, though, that I think a lot of people look away from, or maybe they've forgotten. So I'm going to remind you. Shannon, okay, could not stand Kelly in this season, and neither could most of the group for the most part, rightfully so for a lot of it. But this Ireland trip was a shit show. They have one of their last meals as a cast before they head back to Orange County, okay? Right before this meal, Shannon and Tamra, and I don't remember, I think it was Heather, were all sitting together having, a glass of champs and talking mad shit about Kelly and her behavior and this, that, and the other. Then they proceed to go meet the other ladies for a bite. And this is where Shannon immediately sits down. She's like, no one ordered drinks yet? Why? What's going on? As if she was hoping that Kelly had already started to drink so that they could rev her up, because that was the plan. Well, when she noticed there wasn't any, she said, oh, I'll order some. Can you get some? Do you want a tequila, Kelly? And Kelly's like, oh, I'm not drinking today. And she's like, we'll get her a tequila. Actually, bring 2 and then bring some limes and some shots. Then after Kelly says, no, I'm not drinking. Shannon gets up from the table, goes around the corner and tells the waiter, make them doubles. Keep them coming. Can you do that for me? Now, a lot of you will look at the situation and say, I can't fucking stand Kelly Dodd, so fuck her. Well, that's a very juvenile approach to a situation. You can absolutely not like Kelly Dodd, but you can still look at the situation with discernment and say, that is very similar to what Vicky and Tamra were trying to do with Gretchen. Because what Shannon was just trying to do in that moment was, if I can get Kelly to drink enough, she will fucking spiral. And she'll do it on camera, and then we'll get the scene we want. It didn't work, but the intention was still there to cause harm. So there's that. That's season 11. So there's Naked and Wasted 2.0. And in that season, in that episode, there's an interview clip from Vicky saying that exact thing. This is another Naked and Wasted situation. So there you go. Don't fight me about the season 11 stuff, because it's pretty clear in my mind. Let's now jump 5 seasons ahead. Season 16. Okay? This is where we get Noella and we get Dr. Jen. Terrible housewife, Dr. Jen. Sorry. Probably lovely person, but not a great housewife whatsoever. Anyways, this was Heather's big return. Remember? We're finally going to get to see her house that she spent all this time and money and customization to put together. Her return fell flat. And because nothing was going on, because no one was really going to try to instigate anything. So everyone kind of laid low. Now we get this scene where Heather invites Dr. Jen and her husband over for a dinner party. Why? Well, Terry and Heather had this deal, spinoff show with E, okay, where they were going to counsel in quotes, other married couples dealing with marital conflict and issues. Okay, so this is teeing that up. That's what this scene was really about. The other part of why this scene needed to happen was Heather needed something going on. She needed something to talk about. She needed something to splash in her side of the fence to make it seem like, whoa, what's going on here? So she knows Dr. Jen is already nervous. She's bringing her husband, who she fucking hates, okay? And I don't care what you guys say. She fucking hated that man. She brings this man in, her husband. They all sit there awkwardly. And Heather's told her servers, you know, keep the drinks flowing. Don't let her glass go dry, basically. Okay? We're filming the show. And you know, Jen is partaking, okay? She is sloshed by the time dinner starts. And she starts not only shitting on her husband, but embarrassing herself and giving Heather all the show in the world and entertaining Heather's friends who are not on the show. How fun. Do you really think that wasn't something premeditated? Now, all three of those scenarios, the person who drank a lot did not have to drink said alcohol. Let's be clear about this. So from Gretchen to Kelly, who Kelly did not partake. She took a sip, I believe, but that was it. She stuck to her guns, and they still got her for it later with the secret recording that Shannon did, where she asked Heather to record Kelly after she was provoked multiple times and then went ape shit in the hallway. Anyways, I digress. None of these people needed to partake in anything. So if we're going to go and isolate the naked and wasted situation from season 4 and weaponize that around everything and not take a look at these other two examples of very similar behaviors, I think it is hypocritical. And I do think it's cherry picking. You don't have to like people, but you can say what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong regardless. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. What else is happening? I'm still finishing up the merch designs, guys. And you know, a lot of you guys were guessing it in my DMs. By the way, you guys don't be shy. Come into my DMs. I am not a weirdo. I will talk to every one of you. If you guys look at my DMs, I respond to 95%. The other 5% are the ones I haven't gotten to yet in my request folder, but I am diligently checking. I am hearing you and I respond. And I love it. So please come to me. Doesn't bother me. Anyways, the merch. A lot of you guys yesterday were guessing that the merch was going to center around Salt Lake City. And yes, partially true. There's going to be some elements of Salt Lake City for sure. But I'm going to do this in small drops. So I'm not going to do as many different things as I did with the Chainsmoker collection. I'm thinking I'm going to do smaller drops, and that way I can make it more fun. But anyhow, so stay tuned for that. What else is going on? I think that's about it for today. It's Tuesday. I'm keeping it easy and breezy. I hope you guys are too. There's a hell of a ton of shit going on outside of our homes. So let's just try to take it easy and keep our heads low right now. Also, astrology is being really fucking wild. Okay. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. I will be back tomorrow with an all new episode for you. And until the next episode, guys, I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.
We need to talk about this. Talk about this.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to leave a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast.
We need to talk about this.